Now, this is a good topic to talk about. Um, when it comes to making your videos, which one's better? Scripting your video so you can, know your points, what you want to say, blah, 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 or just speaking freely? Which one's better? Honestly, I think they're both great, right? It just all depends on the type of video you're making, all depends on your how comfortable you are in terms of speaking in front of the camera. Let me kind of give you an example. There are times where I'm actually really focused on having a script. I need a script because I got some points. I got my sticky note, or I got my notepad, or I got my phone. With some things laid out like in a Google Doc or something or whatever, and I'm reading off of that sticky note, or if I'm reading off of my phone or my notepad. And a lot of times, if I have my phone or whatever, you'll see me, talking from and see me looking at the phone. Don't be afraid to do that. I don't have a problem with anybody if they got some points. Now, I wouldn't make a video where I'm just reading the whole thing, looking at my phone or looking at my sticky note or my notepad or whatever. No, I just use it as a reference. So, for example, let's say if I am scripting something and I got some points that I don't want the viewers to miss, because I don't want to miss, sharing that information, because I get, go down a rabbit hole or whatever, or just nervous. And sometimes when you're trying to think of what to say, it can throw you off your flow. Make sense? You know what I'm talking about, right? You got 10 points that you want to make sure you talk about, and you're trying to memorize them in your mind while you're speaking in the camera. It can get a little challenging. Of course, there's teleprompters and all kinds of different tools and stuff that you can use for that. But if you're just getting started, guys, hey, I'm telling you, just pick up your phone, have your phone or notepad or whatever, and just write down the points that you want to cover. So if you got this point, that point, that point, you don't have to read it or write it out word for word. Just write down a few words that would trigger, what that's talking about. And when you're talking in your video, hey, what's up, everybody, blah, 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 blah. You're talking and you're like, hey, I got a couple things I need to share with you in this video. First, you need to really blah, 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 blah. And you're going off of talking about that. Then second, you want to make sure that when you blah, 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 and you can do all this in the video, people will appreciate that you're being very precise, right? Or concise or whatever it is, right? You're just being, you want to make sure that you're not missing any information, right? So you can definitely do that. So I've done it a lot just over the years, so I have no problem. And sometimes I'll put like a sticky note, and sometimes I'll put it like on the viewfinder near my camera or somewhere near the lens where I could just have a quick glance at that point or whatever, and it works. So whatever works best for you or whatever, it works, right? So and again, but it all depends on the type of video. Obviously, if you're doing again, it just all depends on how you want to do that. But they do have like teleprompters. They've got teleprompter apps. I might do a video about that where you can read the teleprompter, and it's like, what a teleprompter is. Just the words are going up and you're just reading, and you got it right near the camera lens, right? And people can't even really see that you're reading it. So there's all kinds of ways, but that gets into too much tech stuff. So I just say, hey, keep it simple, sticky note, notepad, phone, and just hold it in your hand and just say, hey guys, hey, this is what I want to talk about in this video. And also, number 5, listen to you see what I'm saying? Just be organic with it. Don't be awkward with it. Just be yourself. That's the best advice I can give you. Just be yourself. So depending on the video, depending on the context of the video, depending on what your agenda is for the video, you might need to have a somewhat of a script or some points, that can remind you what to talk about as you continue with that video. Okay. Now, number 2 is what? Scripting versus speaking freely. Now, this is the method that I really like using, especially now, which I typically do this anyway. I think it's really good just off the top of your head. Like I had, a note here on a sticky note, scripting versus speaking freely, which is really kind of like the title of this video. That was pretty much it. I was like, you know what? The rest of it, I'm just going to talk, share right off the dome, right off the cuff, right? I like those type of videos, especially if it's something that you don't really have to memorize. You're not like going over various points or whatever. You're just speaking freely. I love it because really the title is, speaking or scripting versus speaking freely. Which one's better? It just all depends on the type of video that you're making. They're both great. Sometimes I script write videos, or I would say really the only time I'm really scripting a video is if I'm doing like a video presentation and and I need everything to be right on point, and I'll create a script to follow, right? And I'll make a video about that a little bit later on that process. That's some more advanced type stuff. Um, that's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about scripting. Um, More or less, really, what I was saying in the previous examples is when you're scripting, a lot of times when I'm doing that, I'm really just writing bullet points. Okay, I want to talk about this, talk about that, maybe like one or two words, just something I know. Okay, I need to talk about this, talk about that, go from there. But speaking freely is good because it creates a very authentic, um, feeling in the video. Sometimes when you're just speaking freely, and you really don't need you're not going over certain points, you're just talking about something that's on your mind, talking about how you feel, talking about some type of, you just had a successful day or something, you just had something just happened in your business that was a failure, or something that's coming down the pipe, or something you just learned, or you just made some money, or what, you see what I'm saying? So you really don't need a script for those. I know a lot of times a lot of people have told me over the years, well, I want to make videos, Steve, but I really don't know what to say in the video. Really, just speak from the heart. Just talk. Like if you were in front of one of your best friends, family members, whatever, and you're talking about something, just pretend the camera is, you're just speaking to one of your friends or one of your family members or whatever. That's typically what I did back in the day. I just pretend that I'm speaking. I actually feel, and I've kind of trained my mind. I've made thousands of videos now, but in my mind, I really feel like I'm actually talking to an audience. Okay. I think a lot of times the fear comes into play because we're looking at ourselves, right? And you're really looking at you versus your mind should be focused on the audience and delivering content for them, right? Versus on focusing on how you look or how you sound. Make sense? So as soon as you flip that, then you'll be more natural with a lot of your content. So, or with the context of your video, with your with your flow, and everything with the demeanor in your video. Because I know it can be a little awkward. I know in the beginning it's a little challenging. Excuse me. It's a little challenging for you to get to the next level, but I don't think you really need to have a script per se in a lot of those videos. I think speaking freely speaks volumes, in my opinion. They're both great. So I'm not saying that scripting is bad, because it isn't. Because sometimes I need to have a script. And sometimes, just speaking freely is great because I don't need to really do that much preparation, right? I could just, right off the hip, hey, this was up. What's going on, everybody? What's, blah, blah, blah. And I just talk about whatever we need to talk about, and then I get off the video, right? So they're both great. I don't think one's better than the other. Just all depends on the type of video that you have. And you'll know what you need to do. But I always tell people, don't be afraid. If you need to jot down a few points, right? Because you're a little nervous. You've never done this before. You're like, oh, I got a couple things I want to share, a couple things I want to get off my mind. But if I don't know if I'm gonna remember it. Jot it down. Put it right next to you, put it somewhere, or if you need to hold it up in the camera, whatever, right? And don't be afraid to look. Hey, and sometimes I'm making a video, I'll say, hey, hold on a second, guys, I got my notes here. I want to make sure you get this. All right, number 3, check this out. And I just go into whatever. I let them know, hey, I'm looking at some notes. Again, the game right now is all about transparency, just being authentic. Don't be afraid to let them know. I'm looking at some notes, just letting you know. So if you see me look down, I'm looking at some notes because I want to make sure that you get this. And people will be like, I like this. Okay, cool. I'm watching. Because they're really making sure that we get this information. And your viewers will appreciate that you're really thinking of them that way so you don't miss anything. So just my thoughts, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. But again, scripting versus speaking freely, which one's better? I think they're both great. Just all depends on the type of video that you're making and really what the agenda is. And really also, I'll add how comfortable you are. But don't be afraid to have some tools that can help you along the way when you're making your content. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be clear. Okay, the message needs to be clear. Ain't got to be perfect. Nobody said it had to be perfect. It just has to be clear. That's all. Okay, and as long as you do that, that's a good video. I'll watch that video. Okay, send me the video. I'll watch it. Right? That's what you got to do. And matter of fact, shout out. Some people have been sending me videos. Great job, guys. You guys are crushing it. Hey, it's that first video. Hey, there's many more to come. And again, you can talk about that journey, with others in the future on when you get to your 50th video, your 100th video, right? You've done 1,000 videos, right? So you can always go back. Hey, this was my first video. And now you're like on I don't know what number of videos now. And you're like a video creating genius now, right? And all that happens just from doing it. I remember my first one. I've come a long way from that very first video. Long way. Not just in the technical stuff, but just in just being comfortable with it. Come a long way from that. And still growing, still learning, and still building. So that's all I got for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, comment below, like this video. Be sure to subscribe right below. Got some goodies in the YouTube description as well that you can check out. And hey, guys, see you on the next video. Peace.